Okay, let's begin the next steps, which include taking all of the information that we've gathered up and putting it all together into the Site Restructure Planner. This is a Google Sheet that's available for download in the Resources section. So if you make your way through to the community, go down, go to search, use the search feature to find it. It's much easier. Click on Search Resources and then just search for Planner, and you'll see it listed here, Site Restructure Planner. Navigate to this page here. You'll see there's a short description. The following resource is useful when performing a site restructure. It helps ensure accuracy when planning and implementing changes at the URL level to ensure link equity and traffic is preserved. Simply click on go to download and then make a copy. As long as you have Google Drive set up and you have sufficient space, you'll be able to create a copy of this. Keep a copy handy. Use it within Google Drive. Again, I wouldn't be doing any of this using locally saved files using Excel. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward. There's only a handful of columns here. The first being traffic and backlinks. I'll touch on how to use those in just a second. The existing URL, the action, which is a way for us to set the desired action as to whether, what the desired action might be for that particular URL, whether it's unchanged, redirected. We're going to set a redirect, it's a new page, or we're going to remove the page. Then the new URL, so the existing URL that was in place before the restructure, and where we're going to point that existing URL to the new URL. Then we've got tested, and this is simply for once we've completed the changeover and we go through testing our redirects. Did it pass or did it fail? Okay, and then the final column, which is for notes, general notations as you work your way through this planner. So as you can see, very straightforward. Again, the whole purpose behind this planner is just to have a single point of reference. Share this, upload this to Google Drive. You should have dedicated folders for each of your campaigns, and make sure that those who need access to this planner have access. Okay, so the first thing that I would recommend that you do is take all of the information that we've gathered so far in terms of Google Analytics traffic, a snapshot of the existing site structure, and all of the inbound links, as well as any information that you might have for Google Ads or conversion data. Put it all together in this spreadsheet. It'll help you stay far more organized and prevent, making mistakes. So I'll just shift this over here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I will upload. I won't bother too much about the ads data. We don't need to do that for this demonstration. But what I will do is I'll gather up. I'll get the data that we got for Google Analytics, the original snapshot of the existing site structure, and also the information that we pulled through Ahrefs. So let's start with Google Analytics data. I'm just going to create a new spreadsheet here, a new worksheet, sorry. And let's just copy everything out of here. And we'll rename this to Google Analytics data. And we'll paste that straight in. Now this information is the information that we gathered for traffic, how much traffic each of these URLs is currently getting. Okay, this is going to be handy to have when we start making changes so that we can work through the cross-referencing and ensuring that we don't delete pages that already have traffic. Okay, so we've done that one. That's Google Analytics. The next, let's just do the site structure. So this is a snapshot of the existing site structure. So we'll copy that down. We'll create a new worksheet here. We'll just paste that straight in. Okay, again, useful to have this as a reference. Let's rename the sheet to original structure. And the next one, what do we got? Okay, so all inbound links. This is the information that we pulled through Ahrefs. Okay, so I'm going to copy that out. and paste that in. We'll create a new worksheet, paste it in. Okay, so that should be fine. And like I said, we're going to be referencing this data when we work through the planning phase. So we'll just rename this to something that makes sense. So maybe inbound links. Okay, so this should be enough in order for us to get started. Okay, so let's make our way back now to the site restructure planner itself. And from here, I'm going to grab the original dump that we put into our notepad file when we first started this, this process. I'm going to grab this information. And remember, this is the existing site structure. This is what is currently in place. And I'm going to dump that down into our existing URL column. Okay, so these are all of the existing URLs. Let's just tidy this up a little bit. All right, so this is what we currently have in place. Okay, now the next steps, of course, are to reference our new site structure, the one that we've mapped out. And all we're going to do is work our way through this list, okay, and then figure out where these existing URLs need to point to in order to accommodate for our new site structure. So let's start the process. Of course, the home page is going to remain unchanged. As you can see, we've already got that selected, unchanged. That's going to stay exactly the same. The next one we've got is about us, so we'll find that. That's going to stay the same. So we'll just enter that in again. We'll select unchanged. Now, author, there may be some pages in here that you may not be quite sure what to do with. Initially, if that's the case, like this one here, we'd probably just leave this unchanged. I don't think I brought this over into my my new structure here. I think I took it out, but this one here will probably stay. We will, however, probably set a no index, no follow on that page. So we'll leave it as unchanged, but we will make a note. So no index, no follow for that one. That should be fine. There's really no need to have those author pages indexed. It's not a big issue anyway, even if they do get indexed. Okay, so this was our best cafes blog post that I think is worth getting rid of. So that will live down here under blog. Probably going to remove this. I'll add in the new URL anyway, but I will make a point of setting it as remove for the desired action item. I really don't see the point of that blog post because it really has nothing to do with family law. We're not an information or a review site to review cafes in the area, so we'll do that. Next is the blog. And so as you can see, guys, this is really, really straightforward. All we're doing is mapping each of the URLs to the desired location. Here's another, this is pagination, so we'll leave that one as unchanged. It's just a process of working through the list. So I'm going to continue on through this. I'll complete each of the redirects, or sorry, the mappings rather. And when I've completed all of the steps here, as I work my way through this sheet, I'll come back to the recording and then provide next steps. Okay, so I've finished that step. Admittedly, I did take a few of these URLs out, especially around the suburb pages to save a little bit of time, just for the sake of the demonstration. But as you can see, I now have all of my old URLs mapped out pointing to my new URLs. And of course, when you get to this point, it's always best to double check everything. Even if it means having you check it, someone else in your team checks it, 2 or 3 people on the team check it to make sure that it's right. Because it can be really easy to miss something or overlook something in here. And you want to make sure that you've got it right in here before you start implementing it on the live website. So always take your time with this and make sure to go through and just double check everything to make sure that it's right. Now, in addition to that, as you can see, For the short sample size that I have here, I've set out various action items for each of the intended URLs, right? So I've got various URLs are set to unchanged. I've got some of which I'm going to remove. Others I'm going to set redirects. Okay, the majority of these are going to be redirects, which is fine. That's going to be pretty straightforward. Now, rather than going through every single URL to determine and ask the question, well, is there traffic for this URL? Are there backlinks for this URL? I only check traffic and backlinks on URLs where I intend on actually deleting them, removing or consolidating. Okay, so if I'm creating a new page or if I'm removing it or I'm going to consolidate the page, then I'll cross-check this information. Okay, the reason why we gather all of that up is so that we don't have to go back through Ahrefs and Google Analytics one page at a time, and it's why you bring all of this information over into a centralized location. So for this other stuff, even if there is traffic and inbound links, we're going to redirect anyway. So we're going to be preserving that. I myself personally like to, take precautions with when I'm performing this task, and typically always, I prefer to redirect rather than blowing too much away. However, if I find sections of the website where it makes absolutely no sense, or the pages are not getting any traffic, or it's just dead weight, then I'll definitely blow it away. But in this example, at least, you can see the majority of what we're going to do here, at least what I intend to do, is I'm going to be setting redirects. Okay, so I've got two pages here. I've got this cafe one, and I've got this other one down here, which is category uncategorized, which is probably something that needs to be tidied up within WordPress rather than being deleted. But I've got this other one here. So at the very least, we've got two. So I've got this Sunshine Coast social media one and the cafe review blog post. So what I would do here is I would look for this Best Cafe Sunshine Coast URL firstly within Google Analytics, and we're going to look to see if it's got any traffic, because my preference is to just get rid of it. So I might just do a Control F here. So here it is down here. It is, by the looks of it, getting some traffic. I can see here that it's getting, over the last 12 months, it's had 121 visits, or views rather, which probably doesn't mean much anyway, because I think it's highly unlikely that this page would be converting. So rather than just delete it, let's, in fact, before we make that decision, let's have a look at any inbound links. Does that page have any inbound links? I think that's highly unlikely. No, it doesn't. Okay, so we could probably just blow that page away. It's probably not doing anything in terms of driving revenue. But hey, let's let's err on the side of caution. So maybe rather than just blowing it away, we'll blow it away anyway, but we'll set a redirect there and maybe just push it to the blog. So let's do that. Of course, don't ever get lazy when it comes to setting redirects. I know I've seen, well, it's a common habit for a lot of SEO consultants, rather than redirecting pages to the most appropriate location, they'll just dump everything straight back to the home page. Don't do that. Always make sure that you go through this process and you set redirects, like I said, to the most appropriate pages. If someone's searching for, let's say they're searching for child support, family law child support, and they hit a result within the SERPs and then they get redirected to the home page, that's not going to be that user experience is going to be terrible. So, and chances are they're just going to bounce back to the SERPs. We don't want that. So make sure you work through this process properly. However, if having said that, if this post, we go back to this post up here, this cafe's blog post entry. So as you saw, it did have a little bit of traffic. I think it was 121. So I would just enter that in here. It doesn't have any backlinks, so I'll just enter 0. That's how you populate these two columns on the left. Like I said, I don't go through and populate all of them. I only make note of the pages that I know are going to be blown away. So this page here has had no traffic, and it doesn't have any inbound links. In fact, let's just double check the traffic there. Okay, so I was wrong. It's had 89 visits in the last 12 months. So restructure 89. So I'll put in 89 there, and that's it. So as you can see, pretty straightforward. Like I said, the whole purpose of this sheet is to keep everything centralized and organized so that you're working with structure rather than just, working at random and making changes on the fly in the website and potentially causing problems.